Well guys, welcome to another live stream. How is everyone doing? It's the 13th of May. So it's another Saturday, it's another live stream that we do to forecast, to look for opportunities for the week ahead. So here we are. Welcome, my name is Pedro and I usually trade, or the way you do the stream is usually to look at the FX indices and finish with a little bit of Bitcoin and Ethereum. We do commodities as well, usually gold and oil. And we always start with dollar index, just to have overall idea of what to expect from the major FX pairs in here. And then of course we also do Euro index and Yen index, which is great information to collect. Again, to predict where the best opportunities or the best moves are in the market. So welcome to the stream. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe. If you get value as well, like and subscribe. I would appreciate that. And participate. If you find any levels, any key levels to look for next week that you're looking for, let me know. We can discuss about them. That's basically the main aspect of this stream. So here we are. Dollar index, it looks like finally is moving away from this range that we have been for the last couple of weeks, or since basically a month now, since we created this low and the 14th of April. And yep, finally we had a little bit of a momentum on the dollar to the upside. Yeah, finally had that. This week in terms of news, it was the CPI, maybe one of the catalysts to help this move on the dollar. It was a little bit lower than expected at this point, at 4.9%. The overall CPI, core CPI at 5.5, if not mistaken. It's been since May 2021 that we haven't had the CPI lower than 5% in the US. So here we are. And then maybe most likely the day after with the BOE as well, kind of it accelerated also, especially with in the pound, the move to the downside, which maybe helped the dollar to go higher as well. Here we are. So it looks like we are on this move to the upside, right? There were ways to try to trade it. So we start to pay attention to that level since we slightly took this low and price start to reverse, right? Initially we had a little bit of a break in here. Yep, then we kind of stayed in a range within a week in this level, and then it started moving. Went all the way down. We respect this level, so that was one of the levels that we were still paying attention to when price created that move. In here was one of them, and in here was another one, and then of course the base of this was another one. Basically all the three zones were touched. Actually there was even another one at the extreme that was never really reacted from, a little bit somewhere in here. Price never really went there to react from that level. That was literally the last of the last zones in there to try to look for it. It's okay. And after that we've managed to break above this level, which is maybe a break above this trend line as well. Don't really look at trend lines like this, but for whoever does it, maybe that was the first signal of a bullish indication on the dollar. Mine was a little bit already from here, even though it took a lot of time. I was still open to the possibility of even picking out a little bit more of this low into a little bit towards that level on the left side, and before maybe having that rally. So yeah, that was the scenario. That was a few weeks ago. I managed to slightly take this structure in here that actually had created, or it managed to hold price down. It was this high, and we kind of took it in here. Yeah, and then apparently this will manage to survive and manage to respect price all the way through. Yeah, this one managed to hold it, and we start then moving higher. And this one, I think, with the CPI, that's kind of the last zone This demand zone in here was still fresh. None of these lows kind of reacted from there, and there you go. Had that big spike move to the downside during the CPI, and then all of a sudden we just turned and we start slowly moving upwards, with finally yesterday having that momentum to the upside. So if I was about to look at the market in the last since the beginning of May and the different currencies, we would say that beginning of May we had the yen pairs with this move to the upside. So the move to the downside on the euro yen, dollar yen, Aussie yen, pound yen, and so on. So that's kind of the beginning of the month. That was the pair kind of to look for, to trade yen pairs, in this case to short them, because the yen actually got stronger in here. Then last week with the ECB, so beginning of the month, yen pairs. Then it was with the ECB around the ECB time, which was basically 10 days ago or something like that, on the 5th of May, we had the ECB interest rate decision, and you're looking literally for yen, for the euro to sell, right? So all the euro pairs you could have tried to sell them, position yourself to look for ways to sell the euro pairs, including euro dollar in there as well. And then we had this week the Bank of England, and most in particular the pound, or any pound related pair, especially euro pound as well. It had a really strong move to the upside, but mostly the pound. As you can see, basically what you can see in here on the euro index, all of this compression to the upside, a little bit of this range in here, taking a high on the left side. This looks like, I'll show you in a bit, this looks like exactly pound dollar as well, with all this compression, ranging a little bit, and eventually we had that final kind of spike up around the news, and all of a sudden, or even before the news, and then you have the move to the downside, right? Literally what you can see in here, this is showing weakness. This is price kind of starting to position itself to some kind of retracement or a full reversal. Like retracement, I'll mention retracement as a maybe potential retracement, and then find something in here and go higher. Or reversal is something more strength, more strong, like actually a proper move down that may even go all the way to break close or whatnot. That may take a few days now. This being created in here as the high for the near future, maybe a week, 2 weeks, or even a month. This being the high. This zero index is going to be the same on the pound dollar, as I'll show in a little bit. So there we go. Beginning of May it was the yen. The 4th of May with the ECB it was the euro pairs. Then this week it was a focus on the pound, expecting again a move to the downside. And yesterday, basically Thursday yesterday, we had finally dollar to create a momentum that actually helped then for the pound actually to have this second leg move, right? So this move, it was due to the BOE, and then this one, BOE, whatever it was, right? It was literally price. We could see that all the compression, it helps then for the price to just move in really strong in this direction. And then there you go. We finally have the dollar, and the dollar actually then helped also the CAD to finally move to the upside, helped the yen pairs to move to the upside, helped dollar franc Swiss to move to the upside, it helped euro dollar to move down, it helped pound dollar to move down, it helped Aussie dollar to move down, and so on, right? And this is when you see that is a dollar move, like exactly yesterday happened, right? When you have all these major FX pairs related to the dollar to move in the direction that they should in terms of strength over strength dollar, or weak dollar. In this case, it was a strong dollar. And there you go, right? So, and if you start being aware of these situations, of paying attention to them, for example, to these indices, and position yourself according to that, that's how you're going to find the best trading opportunities in that particular moment, right? For example, in here, when price was about to reverse, if you start paying, if you are aware of this, and if you are aware of this, most likely you should be looking at the euro pairs to look for opportunities. Like it can be euro Aussie, can be let me just even, it can be euro CAD, it can be euro even pounds, right? Okay, I can even draw a G in here. Can be even euro dollar, right? Even euro dollar actually it was one of the that took longer. I can maybe euro yen is the U, right? So that's something to start to pay attention to, right? Because you're going to find the best opportunities around those pairs when price is finally moving, and you can see when that is actually an euro move, a yen move, or a dollar move, or something else, right? Because if it's not, then you're going to actually find, for example, euro index to range a little bit. This is maybe you have euro dollar going down, but all the other euro pairs are going upwards, right? So that's a little bit what you can see. The same for the yen pairs. As you could see in here, also it's similar scenario. For example, dollar yen was kind of staying steady, and the dollar yen never managed to break the respective low. The same way that this yen index never managed to break this high, but the other yen pairs they actually managed to break the low and actually managed to have a stronger move to the downside comparing with the dollar yen. This is how you can use correlation in order to look for the best opportunities and where to position yourself during the week, whatever it may be. All right, enough with that. So, by the way, let me know in the comments if this is valuable information. I can see that it is with the work that I do with you guys, that you are taking a lot of advantage by doing this analysis across the different indices in order to look for this strong currency pairs to look for on the intraday levels or even on the week levels. So, but yeah, in here, let me know if you guys find it valuable or not. Dollar index. So here we are. I actually change time frame. Let's take a look at the daily first. Yeah, there's maybe more room to the upside. I think that's a little bit obvious, and as you know, usually when you have such a strong Friday like we had yesterday, Monday tends to be a continuation of the same move as last Friday. So that's kind of what we should be expecting on Monday. Kind of a continuation. It can be a little bit of a retracement, but maybe even can be just a retest towards this previous level of resistance, work a support and price goes down, or quite the opposite, price actually can start using even this one, opening already on Monday a little bit stronger upwards, and then maybe using this one as the level and going upwards after that. Now there's maybe this is one of the last supplies in there, maybe this one, aside from that a lot of it has been compressed in here, which we can maybe aim for the dollar to eventually go all the way through maybe the base of this low at the end of this compression to the downside. That's a little bit maybe what you should be looking for on the dollar at this point. Yeah, base in here it has been kind of tested quite a few times around this level, 103.453, sorry. Yeah, that's a little bit maybe where it could aim to look for the dollar at least to go to as targets for these longs, if not even higher, can even go higher. There's no problem with that. But let's play zone by zone first in order to look for those opportunities. Lower time frame, what's in there? Yeah, they have a little bit of this range in here. Price can go there. It's basically in alignment a little bit with this IKM that can be created in here. Yeah, let's see a little bit of this structure as well. Maybe price eventually going to compress a little bit, maybe gain some momentum and then compress again in order to then maybe reverse a little bit on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then let's see if then it continues to go higher. Hey Dixon, yeah. The dollar finally moved, right? And it created momentum for everything else. So yesterday, yeah, there was maybe some good timings of opportunities, but I think the best opportunities actually occurred on Thursday. I think Thursday was the day to try to get into the trades and then just hold them, that you would have benefited from the momentum created yesterday. I'm expecting on Monday price to, just as I mentioned, I'm expecting price actually to continue in the same direction as as it moved on Friday. When you have such a strong Friday, usually price tends to continue in the same direction. And now pay attention a little bit to some zones on the left that can hold, can work a little bit as resistance. But the tendency is to continue to see. Now, is the move going to be with the same strength as last Friday? Maybe not. Maybe price will go kind of compressed a little bit, but eventually I'm expecting still new highs to be created. Anytime kind of maybe price retraces, eventually for price to be created. Now, if you want to trade individual pairs, for example, if you're looking at euro dollar, pound dollar, or Aussie dollar, or whatever, try to find which ones actually there's still more space and room to move. In this case, they are actually going down. So try to find which one actually there's maybe a bit more room to go as target. Because maybe that's the one actually is going to create momentum. Maybe not all of them are going to move with the same strength to the downside on Monday. Maybe one of them is going to compress a little bit more. Maybe it's going to find some range and it's not going to move as much. While the other maybe actually is going to still make another, I don't know, another 100 pips move to the downside or whatever it may be. Right? So selection in there is important. Yeah, maybe. Overall, yes, I'm expecting new highs. I'm expecting to see another bullish candle on Monday. But most likely not as strong as last Friday, right? Last Friday, actually last Thursday, last Friday was quite strong, at least on the dollar index. Yeah, expecting another one in there. And maybe then Tuesday morning, that's usually when there's a little bit of retracement. Or if by any chance, maybe you see a little bit of a range tomorrow, then most likely maybe Tuesday is going to be another momentum day. Yeah, so if you do find a little bit of a range on Monday, and maybe Tuesday is going to be what I'm expecting to happen actually on Monday. Yeah, let's see what's going to happen. So yes, looking for price to get a little bit over there. Is there any chance that we can go all the way through and retest the highs from the beginning of March? Maybe there is. Maybe you're going to be within this range now, and price maybe is ready to go all the way. But first, literally, I'm looking first for price to go there. It's basically 50%. Actually, I don't know if it's 50%. Let me just check. Is it 50% of this? Yeah, it's around the 50% mark on the Fibonacci. This one in here, actually 50 is a little bit underneath that. It's around the 50%. So yeah, that's a little bit where I'm looking for, at least as an initial move on the dollar, to go all the way there. So let's see if that's going to happen. Yeah, aside from that, so this one has been taken. We do have this previous level support resistance. It's not exactly anything important somewhere in there. Yep. Now play along with any times we may break a high in here if the level a little bit on the left side is still fresh. Maybe that's where you can see a little bit of a retracement. We didn't have any retracement whatsoever when we broke this high, so price actually can retrace in here eventually and use it as a continuation. To the downside, we have a little bit of a zone in there to look for. Yeah, that's basically it for the dollar, right? Yeah, it took a while for the dollar to move. It was actually first we saw even the euro moving, pound moving, even the yen moving, and now we finally see dollar moving and helping all the other currency pairs to move as well. Maybe here at the extreme there's maybe something. This high in here already fake out this one. Yeah, maybe something in here to look for, or then just above it. All the way until here. Now we're looking at 1 hour time frame. You have this demand zone, something in there. Yeah. Yep. All right, yeah, that's it for the dollar index. Now looking at the index, S&P and NASDAQ, Dow, even DAX. So here we are. S&P last week, as I mentioned, we did have this break to the downside, and that's something that I consider as an engulf down. I think this is one of the first indications that in the S&P wants to move to the downside. Yesterday, interesting enough, we did manage to break that one. So basically the trade of the week in here, it would have been waiting for this double top. Interesting how price created this double top in the beginning, actually last Friday, and still kind of hold it on Monday. So we had this double top in here, leaving literally this level above fresh, right? There's this supply level. I'm not even sure if price actually managed to reach that level, and because of that, there's even a little bit of a room in here that price can still retest. But literally above this double top, this was the level that we wanted to see being faked out in order then to push price to the downside. Now price just respected initially this level, the base of this. Right, it could even go a little bit lower and eventually even take this low. That hasn't happened yet. Now we're creating a little bit of this range in here, right? Because price went upwards. Again, this highs never reacted from it. There was now orders around with this left shoulder. There you go. Price went there and reacted. And then there's even this origin in here that this high never reacted from it. And apparently price yesterday went all the way there just to fake out now this high, react from the level that was still fresh, and reversed after that, right? This is the level in here, it's still fresh, price paused in there, and there you go, reacted from it, moved to the downside, and it managed even to break a little bit more this low. Now, an interesting pattern that we have seen on the indices is London session and a little bit of the opening of the US session have moved to the downside, and then somewhere in the afternoon we have the correction on the indices and price goes upwards. This has been a little bit of the type of pattern that we have seen. So anyone that is trying to short it, and if you are aiming to go all the way through in here, this hasn't really happened yet. Apparently there's a little bit of buyers continue to push price to the upside. So just one note in terms of your targets, like manage your own expectations on the targets and what you are looking for. Maybe still not the moment to aim to go all the way through. Yeah, maybe price wants to go a little bit higher before that. Now on the S&P, as I mentioned a few times, there's even a little bit of this price. So price is still trading underneath this or within this supply level, or this flag in here, and there's still a little bit of space above it. Now the big difference is that NASDAQ has been trading a little bit somewhere in here, and it finally reached one of those extremes in here at the base of this level. So that's where NASDAQ reacted last Friday. Right? It has been trading within this range above this high and underneath this level for the last 1 month or so, and it finally reached that extreme. So NASDAQ in that sense has reached that level. S&P is literally lagging, and you may not even need to go there. We'll see if that happens. But yeah, if it wants to go higher, I'm even still open with the possibility of that to happen. We do have this engulf to the downside, so that's something to look at. So here we are. That's basically it in terms of the S&P. Again, I will continue to look for potential shorts until this level in here is kind of filled, or kind of price goes eventually go below that low. Are you going to still look for this one, or eventually to go a little bit higher above all this structure now that I have in here? Yeah, maybe that's something that I'll try to look for, right? Because there you go, this is NASDAQ. What we had, we start having, as you can see, again, a lot of compression on the way up. We start having breaks of the lows, another break of a low. This one finally kind of it's reached in there, kind of price reacted from that level, but we have that one in there, in here, kind of price reacted from the daily demand. There's even a little bit maybe more space to go down. In this case, price kind of filled the range, so it was okay to continue to go higher, but you start having this engulfed down, right? So next target eventually could be somewhere in here. Yeah, if price goes and breaks a little bit that level, price could go a little bit in there, and then it can even continue to go down. But looking at the bigger picture, here we are, right? So finally we are a little bit within this range. Like if you consider almost this low and the high, that's where we are. We reached this level. We are just trading something underneath here, right? And S&P, as I mentioned, is still trading within this level. So where did price actually reacted from? It reacted from this supply level at this point. That's where NASDAQ has reacted from. On the base of this, we have all this range in here. It's actually a small Quasimodo in here. The price kind of left it behind in there. Above this level, we have a kind of all this highs. There's even a zone in there. There's a base of this as well. There's even the base of that as well. So let's see. Let's keeping an eye on the S&P, actually on NASDAQ, to see actually where price may go and react from. Aside from that, you can see the compressions in here. This was a good entry in there yesterday. After kind of price finally breaks its lows, goes all the way to the extreme in here, and you have that big sell-off. There's maybe more opportunities to look for more entries if price by any chance wants to retrace again back to this highs. There's maybe another opportunity to look for sales. So let's see. We have a little bit of this range as well. Price can even take this highs first and then move down. Yep. So let's see what's going to happen in there. But anytime it's going to go upwards, I think I'm going to continue to look for those reversals, and this just shows what the compression looks like, right? Because within the compression zone, there's going to be opportunities to look for sales, and there's going to be opportunities to look for longs if that's what you want to do so. So yeah, this is where we are until maybe finally price breaks with momentum to one side or the other. Yeah, I'm going to continue to look for sales in there. Then we have Dow. Yeah, here we are. Dow, it was a little bit more similar to S&P, but Dow still managed to stay underneath this level, and it left this level in here behind. So there's even the chance eventually to come all the way here to retest that level or to take those orders and then to move down. What we covered last week, it was that price finally filled this range in here. So there's not exactly any engulf in particular into the next level, but we did manage to break this low either way, right? So in the bigger picture, daily or 4-hour time frame, maybe it's an engulf down. But yeah, in terms of the space itself, just looking zone by zone, there's not exactly an engulf there. Yeah, so something that I would like to see, for example, is another break of the low. In this case now, that would be kind of the confirmation, and then you could have that retracement going all the way until here, and then maybe making that final move down. I would be completely happy if I see that move. Now we have enough structure in here to attract kind of liquidity, and from here we could kind of make the final move to the downside. It's a really nice zone. We had this level, we have the fake out already. I think there's literally fresh orders still somewhere in here that price can use, and we start to have all this structure in here that can be literally used to track sell orders in there, and price can go. It would be very nice to actually to break below this level, enter into this compression zone, which then you can aim to go all the way down. Yeah, that's kind of the way I'm looking at the Dow. It's starting to create a really nice PA in here. So I'm just going to actually draw an alert in here to see whenever price gets there. And then you have DAX, right? DAX again, just a good exercise in here on DAX if you want to just check how price reacts kind of these left shoulders that we have in here. Just go almost one by one and try to see which one is the one that price is reacting from. Yep, just go one by one and see. Right, we have a lot of structure in here, a lot of highs, and apparently price is making sure that it comes back here as many times as it went before, just to collect almost every single order along the way. Yeah, just do that exercise and you'll see. Just a good one. So where we are, manage breaking lows, go down. Now kind of retesting this level in here as well. Again, in my opinion, I still see this, I still look at these lows as an engulf down. I think price wants to go a little bit further down. I don't even think it reached this level. So there's a little bit of space in there, and I believe that price may wants to go a little bit further down. Now, from where? That's the question. That's the question. I think there was a little bit of space still above this high that price never really touched it. This one now a little bit similar to S&P, that this high never really touched the extreme. It went there in here after creating this beautiful double top in there. Yeah, that was in there, and I think there was a little bit more of a level in here, because I think that's where I was looking for a sell. The price missed it. Yeah, somewhere in here. Because of that, and price just paused in here, and I think it never really. Where am I? No, it's not one. Yeah, somewhere in there, price reacted from this supply. Never really got there. Yeah, maybe can still go there. We'll see. But yeah, I think DAX can go also down. Like, just one of the concerns is that we are that close to this double top, and we can always expect maybe that that double top to eventually be taken. We are within this range for quite a while, so let's see if this level is going to be filled before we take the highs, or after we take the highs, or before we take the highs. Yeah. Now, Euro index. What we have on the Euro index, right? So, Euro index basically filled the range that we were looking for, or the initial first target that we were looking for. It was accomplished. It was accomplished in here, right? Basically, when price reached all this level, that's kind of what we were looking for, and that's done. And that was a trade. Again, it was around the ECB day, right? Interest rate decision in the Eurozone. We moved all the way down. I mentioned I'm not even looking for price to actually pause in here, because this low had already broken that one, so it entered already into this compression zone. And the next level that I'll be looking for, it will be somewhere in here, which is at the month zone, kind of on the daily time frame, if I'm not mistaken. Right, you can see a little bit of the space created, and we reach this demand zone. Now within this demand zone, there's maybe no other levels in there. We had a little bit of a support resistance level in there. We actually have another level of support resistance a little bit underneath that as well, which maybe is actually where maybe price wants to go to. Yeah, it's a little bit of a weekly candle, a weekly wick in there, can hold price a little bit. Something that I was looking for, and this is another way to look for. And in this case, it was a retracement, not a reversal, right? I just mentioned that distinction before in this in the stream. If it is a retracement, I'm expecting just like a retrace from the move. Like, if price is going down, not just expecting price to maybe retrace a little bit and then maybe continue. If it is a reversal, it's a different story, right? It's maybe a proper reversal, getting closer maybe to the highs, or it is maybe reverse all the way 50% or 60% of the move. So yes, in this case, I was looking, as price was getting to this level, I was looking for a potential retracement on the euro pairs, and that's something that we're starting to position ourselves in accordance to that, right? In alignment to that, to find those opportunities. Because as you can see, we had quite a few bearish days in a row on this dollar, on this euro index. Like even though we have a little bit of a kind of, this one, it looks like kind of an indecision in there, just a doji. In reality, it was actually, if you look into the time frames, actually another move down. Price actually broke new lows in there. So eventually from here, I was looking for that, and you could position like that will be maybe just an intraday setup. While in here, we're actually looking for a big reversal, and this is not an intraday setup, but actually can last a few weeks or days or even a month. In here, it was just a small retracement. Until we actually start getting more information that price may wants to go even higher, which was not still the case at this point. But there you go. We had a little bit of this demand, so this was one of the fresh demands in here, that this one never really touched it. So within this daily demand zone, we had this smaller one in here on the lower time frame, and there's maybe another one in there, and there's even something else a little bit underneath here that I wouldn't be surprised if price actually go below this low. This low already broke that one. Question mark is, as this low reacted from the good level in here, maybe reacted from that tilted zone, so maybe that's important. Otherwise, price may go actually a little bit lower into here, or then it just continues to even go farther down. So there you go. This is the euro index. I think we may continue to go a little bit more to the downside. Where is the final target in here? Again, this is a little bit of previous support resistance, a little bit of where price paused, but price can even go a little bit lower. Looking at the monthly candle, around here, just a little bit underneath it. This is where basically we have this opening in alignment with this previous support resistance as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how price is going to be behaving around this. Around these levels in here. So we're starting to see a little bit of a deceleration in this move, a little bit of a compression. Price actually managed to slightly break above, or didn't. It broke above this high, but not exactly above that this one in here. To kind of, this is where we are at this point. Maybe you can even break a new low, come here and kind of look for another sell in there. Yes, if price starts to show a little bit more weakness, maybe you can see a little bit more of a retracement in there. Pay attention to this one, and then eventually we can feel how this undertest this level. Yeah, and as I wanted to mention before, sometimes when you are looking for these opportunities on the euro index, maybe the euro dollar is not the right pair to look for. Maybe it's actually the euro CAD, euro Aussie, euro pound, for example, that they are actually offering better opportunities in here than the euro dollar. The euro dollar may be actually quite attached to whatever the dollar is doing, and it may not move as much as the other ones when you are finding these levels of potential support with a little bit of a retracement. So it's important to be selective also within those pairs. Again, look at this as a combination of all of them, but then look individually as well to look for the best opportunities in there. Yeah, so maybe a little bit more move to the downside. Interesting to see whatever it's going to happen in here. I think we may start to have a little bit of a compression until maybe we gain momentum. If we do break below these levels, I think we may go and gain momentum to get closer to these lows in there. And I would not be surprised if eventually actually that happens, because even though this compression here and this suppression was the first obvious level, I think there's maybe more compression here to look for, right? So let's pay attention to that monthly candle, weekly candle with support resistance from the left side. But if price pension starts breaking below that, we may go all the way all the way further down in there. And then we have this yen index, right? Yeah, the yen index, it reversed somewhere in here, around the 50% mark of this level. Managed to break slightly this this level, then price managed to respect this one in here. As soon as you break kind of above this level in here, somewhere in there, I think the momentum to go higher, it was quite obvious. Initially there's maybe a little bit of a retracement somewhere in here, but kind of going all the way back in here, it was quite obvious now. And this was my fault for not taking the long on dollar yen. It's actually, I was looking at his yen index and I wanted to see it actually fake out this high before the final turn. So until actually this one didn't fake out this high and getting a little bit more close to this extreme, I didn't really took the long on dollar yen, and then all of a sudden I just missed it because this actually managed to hold price in here, right? So I was looking at both of them in that specific moment. I think it was Thursday. The other yen pairs actually were quite weak. Dollar yen, it was the one that was managing to hold it. It was a beautiful level. Yeah, I just ignored whatever dollar yen was doing because I was looking at actually this one. And I wanted that last extra move, and that's what I wanted to see on the dollar yen as well, to then go long. There you go. I missed it, and this is what we had. So maybe breaking this level in here, we may have a continuation at least towards this level, maybe a little bit of a retracement, and then continuation to the downside, if not even further down. And looking at the bigger picture on this yen index, as you know, I think I actually managed slightly to break below this low, and I wouldn't, kind of my bias has been that I think there's more room to the downside. So we managed to break kind of these lows. We even managed to break slightly this low. I think there's even a room towards this demand zone and actually towards that level. So to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if this yen index eventually just continues to move down whatever way it want. Right, this is a good level to find some resistance and maybe continue to move down after it broke these lows of this actually. So yeah, maybe going to have that eventually, that move continuation to the downside in here. Yeah, I'll have this about top. Now if by any chance we still want to make that final leg up and then move down, I would be even happier if that happens. But yeah, as price starts moving down, let's see if there's anything in there that you can position ourselves to look for that opportunity, to look for in this case, to look for the longs on the dollar yen, for example. Yeah, that's something to look for. Now, of course, this barrier in here still needs to be taken. I think you managed to enter into this compression, so I would look for price to go all the way towards this demand zone for now. And yes, that's kind of the first level that I'll be looking for. Yep. Let's see, maybe something in there. Could see as well. Yeah, that's for the yen index. So it's a little bit of what I'll be looking for next week. Hey Jack, how are you, man? How are you doing? A lot of movements in the Bitcoin. Euro dollar. Right, euro dollar. So again, a little bit as I mentioned before with the euro index. Since the 4th of May, the third Thursday, that we had that ECB, euro is being moving to the downside. Now, this euro dollar has been a little bit more in a range comparing with the euro index. One of the reasons is because the dollar was still kind of fighting it a little bit before it finally moved to the upside. So we saw as well euro dollar kind of fighting it a little bit without creating proper momentum. And apparently yesterday, or the last 2 days, we finally had the biggest 2 days with proper momentum on the euro, moving away from this level, and we may be opening We already had opened that outlet compression. You guys knew from the previous streams that there was a lot of compression and space in particular to the downside on this euro dollar. We even had managed to break below this low last week. No, it was Tuesday. Yeah, this Tuesday. There you go again. That was that extra fake out that never happened on the euro, that I was kind of looking for. That never really happened. I'm not the biggest fan, to be honest, of where this high kind of paused, or even this one. So in particular to the euro, yeah, it was not really it was not really my favorite. This one was a nice one. We created this, and you're going to see as a continuation setup. This is exactly what you want to try to find, is when price creates a little bit of structure, in this case a double top, and then even manage to create a new low. Sometimes it doesn't create actually this new low in here, it just stays, kind of creates a double low as well, double top, and all of a sudden you have that strong move upwards. There's literally the supply level. It's in here. Wait, what have I done? Forget split. Yeah, it's in there, and there you go. Right, none of these highs even touch nowhere near close to the supply level or even the SR, and then we have that fake out, and you already know that then creates a Quasimodo for the future, and that's basically where price reacted from yesterday morning. Right, that's a typical continuation pattern that you see after we break such an important structure, and we break it for the second time, because the first time we broke it, it was here. First time we break such an important level, sometimes we have that retracement, but when you do break it for the second time, that's usually when this continuation pattern happens, and you can try to take advantage of it, especially if the retest towards this level is around the London Open, like it was yesterday. Right, it's beautiful, a level to look for, to continue to move down. You can see all the compression during the Asian session. We have niveaus being created. I didn't even manage to break below this one. Yes, even managed to break below that level. So there you go. Typical continuation setup. All this has been compressed. Literally everything has been compressed in here. This is one of the last zones since price actually paused in here yesterday night, and as I mentioned before, I'm expecting the euro, or anytime I see such a strong Friday, I'm expecting Monday kind of to follow and to continue the same direction. So that's basically where I'm looking for to happen. It may pause a little bit in here around the Asian session, but then eventually to create new lows, and maybe actually can break these lows during the Asian session, retrace during the London, and maybe find another continuation to the downside, and aiming a little bit, starting to aim towards the next low in there. And there is actually a small zone underneath this low into this demand zone in alignment with this level, right? So that can be actually a good level to look for a little bit of a retracement. Just some level that I had identified. Now it's not a level to look for a big reversal. It's maybe just a small continuation, a small reversal. None of these lows kind of reacted from it, or kind of went down here, and we actually have that massive low on the left. This one that is just nearby that level, so this one can be faked out, and price can have a little bit of a retracement in there. Yeah, now bigger picture, we have been calling for this for a while on the euro. Okay, price decided to respect that zone in there. Now that everyone is starting to be bearish on the euro, a lot of the move has already happened. I've been bearish on the euro for a long time. Not now. Now it's just letting price run until you start seeing some weakness, until maybe find we have a little bit of a reversal. But yeah, maybe below this level, maybe below this level. Yep. Is there anything in here in alignment with this one? The price can use it. Again, you just go investigate in our time frame. I don't like this this previous level of support resistance in here. That can be interesting. Maybe it has already been spiked quite a lot. Like, I don't really like the way price moved away from here. I prefer to see a cleaner move. It's been a lot of touches in there at this point, so not my favorite. Not even this one is my favorite, to be honest. I prefer to see something cleaner. Yeah, price kind of spend a lot of time in there. Interesting demand zone in here. Eventually I would like to see it being taken. Yeah. Now, continuations to the downside. Even have this one in here. So if by any chance Asian session wants to open to the downside to break the low. Yep, if by any chance this one opens to the downside and breaks the low and around the London Open we are somewhere in here, this could be a good zone to look for that continuation to the downside, especially if we do start creating this range in here. If we do create kind of a little bit of a resistance level in there, then we could definitely move a little bit more further down, kind of respect it one more time, go down, and then somewhere in here around 5-6 AM in the morning price goes there, 7 touches and something like this, and then we may continue to move down without even the need to go a little bit closer to this level, right? So that can be a little bit down to whatever price is going to do during the when it opens on Monday. There's maybe this level in here that is still fresh, as you can see in here, and we start creating this structure in there, right? So that's just literally an idea. It depends on whatever price is going to do when it opens on Monday. Otherwise, we may go all the way there. Again, good thing, something to look for is whatever price should have respected here on the left side. That was not respected on the way down, right? Maybe that's going to be the level that's going to be now respected on the opposite side. So that's something to look for. So find whatever level was still fresh. That price should have had a proper reaction, and it didn't. That's maybe your clue as well to find a good level for trend continuation. And that's it for the euro. Nothing much to look for. We may have another move down. So this is the weekly candle. As you can see, we had a big indecision candle in there, and then we have this huge bearish candle, and maybe somewhere in here can be the next zone to look for some retracements on the euro around 1.0768. Actually, let me take a look at whatever level is that on the lower time frame. Somewhere in here. Yeah, again, it's to be in alignment with this level. To be honest, we can even have all this move in here. Eventually. That may last the rest of the month of May. Maybe we can go retrace a little bit, have a deeper retracement, go somewhere in there, and eventually go down, or first touch this level in here, go and then go down, right? Maybe this level in here has already almost touched the previous level support resistance, so we have that one now. Are we going to have such a deep retracement? Not so sure. Yeah, you may have something like that. Pedro, I can't get to you. 1 second. Jump Street pulling back from crypto. Lots of big moves, right? Yeah, we're going to look at crypto in a bit. But I want to actually to see if you listen to your bias as well, what you expect. Niva gets bread. Hi mate. Pedro, I can get to you. What do you mean you can get to me? Where did you try to contact me? To be honest with you, I haven't been that active, or almost not active at all in the social media in this last couple of months. The one that I usually still check is Twitter, just to check FinTweet, and actually more about to look at stuff related to football as well. We are in this end of the season, so that's something where sometimes when I want to to free my mind, I go to. It's the platform that I use the most. Anything else, nothing much. Yeah. Could you explain what made you bearish? What made you be bearish on the euro from up there, from the top? We start like literally starting to see these breaks of lows. That's something that I looked for. Did even manage to break this one? Yeah, I think we even managed to break that one, even if it was by a what's stopping him in? Yep, this one was a little bit lower. This one was a little bit lower. So we start literally seeing a little bit of the weakness on price in there. We start noticing that price is approaching this good level. I like to see this. So when I'm looking for that as well, I like to see a proper high that's going to attract people to look for sales, right? And this is one of them, right? I think people are going to start looking for a level to sell somewhere in there, and then we take that high. Like in this, I can start being used as a left shoulder, and then we may have some kind of range in here. But eventually, if you go back underneath this level, you can have that massive move. Now, the way price moved in here, you can see all this compression. Like anytime price is going upwards, kind of it goes down straight away. At this point, all these moves in here, you don't really have any proper bullish trend in here. Like by bullish, it will be kind of anytime price retraces, it may just retrace maybe 30% of the move down and then just continues and creates new highs. You are not seeing this at this point, right? Or anytime price goes, another way to see it or to look at it is anytime kind of price breaks a new high, it might just retest the previous level of support resistance and continues to go higher. This is not the type of trend that you are looking at this point. This is quite bullish when you see something like that. What you are having is the opposite. Anytime price goes up, actually goes almost all the way down to respect the demand zone. So it has a lot of retracement. So you see that the seller is actually starting to have some strength or power in here and pushing price down, and then kind of okay, a little bit again, and you break a new. Just delete this one now. Right. Anytime you kind of break it, you are starting to have this a little bit of a fight in here, make it even create a little bit of a double bottom. Maybe now price maybe goes there and creates a new high. But in any time also that you break a new high, you see that the expansion is not that much, right? You see that price breaks it, goes up a little bit and goes down straight away. Like there's no proper breakaway. There's not exactly a kind of a breakout setup in here of price breaking a high, touch the high and just explodes to the upside. It's quite the opposite. It starts to have this kind of fake out moves every single time, like the false breakouts. It breaks the high and it just fake outs into the level again until kind of goes all the way back to test this demand zone. So you can see how weak this bullish trend is comparing with a proper move like this. Right, and eventually one of the last triggers is exactly this. Initially, price still respects the demand zone, and one of the triggers to start noticing that another kind of signal of bears, the sellers winning the battle against the buyers, is when you actually now it doesn't just respect the demand, it actually went and broke the demand zone. Even if it is just for a little bit, it broke the low. Managing to break those lows, that's one of the last clues that you want to find out. Then it's about to find out where is kind of maybe the most attractive liquidity that price can still go and fake out. Of course, I'm mentioning all this, and this is just what you can see in the moment, but paying attention to the left side. Again, always look left to try to find out actually where price may be reacting to or going towards to. Right, because we can start having this movement in here, but the most clean and obvious level that price eventually wants to go to, it's still a little bit higher, right? So this is when you start having this compression moves, and price continues to create slightly new highs, and when maybe people are starting to look for the possibility of having this big move down, but maybe it's still not the time. And maybe it's still not the time because there's literally more space to go a little bit higher before finally we have that move. Now, when this move can be the trigger, maybe can be with some news. In this case on the euro, it was with the ECB. There's a tendency during this last year or so anytime you have an ECB press conference and interest rate, we see the euro dropping. I think maybe just not this one that just happened in May, but maybe the previous one in March. I think that was one of the only ones, one of the only meetings that actually you saw euro going a little bit bullish. Aside from that, the tendency is always to see euro going down. And basically everything that I'm describing here, if you actually pay attention to the euro index, it's exactly the same thing. And I'm about to go into the dollar index, not dollar index. I'm about to go to pound dollar, and it's going to be exactly the same kind of pattern. Yeah, so that's basically kind of, you start noticing, right? And then of course you go into the lower time frame, you go into more details in there, and you try to find out exactly the right moments that you have those calls. But this helps, right? I think you can see clearly how compressed this was. The battle that has been going on in here after such a strong momentum to the upside, right? You have so we are on this bullish momentum since end of September, but in more particular, the last bullish momentum bullish trend started in March, like middle of March. It's been now 2 months, and you don't see that often on FX big momentums like this without actually a little bit of a retracement. Like we kind of had, okay, since this one in here, end of September all the way to February. But meanwhile, we actually had proper, like a little bit of retracements somewhere in here, right? So we kind of had a little bit of those moves going a little bit down, or that lasted maybe a couple of weeks or so before maybe we created new highs and it moved higher. Like in most recently, we didn't really have that much. We have maybe 1-2 days, boom, higher. 1-2 days, boom, higher. Like in this case, we actually have maybe 2 weeks in here of price ranging. Again, a lot of weeks in here, basically a full month almost of price ranging from December all the way to January until finally we moved higher. So there you go. This is where we are now on the dollar, on the euro dollar, and let's see what's next. Right then, how are you, man? Your takes on the euro. City, I think City is going to win the treble, man. Actually, I was supporting Arsenal, but Arsenal completely bottled with those 3 draws in a row. So yeah, I think City is going to go for the treble. I think they're going to win it all. Let's see. Yeah, if they win it, I'm actually happy because of all the Benfica's players, especially Bernardo. Ruben, Ederson, Cancelo is not there anymore, but yeah, those two, Ruben and Bernardo, even Ederson. So I'll be okay. I'm going to be happy for them. I think they eventually deserve a Champions League. They've been in semi-finals and finals for the last years, so yeah. Yeah, bearish as well, right? Yeah, I'll just let it run. I think we can go a little bit lower in here. I'm curious to see how price eventually is going to react from maybe this range in here. That's maybe a level where you can have a little bit of retracement. But yeah, but even more important than City winning though is for Benfica to be again win the Portuguese league. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Today's a big game. If we win today, it's basically 90% guaranteed that we win. Yeah, it's going to be a big one today. And that's the one that that actually I'm more concerned of, or I'm more focused on. Yeah, euro, that's it. By the way, Jack, does it make sense what I'm explaining about the trends? United to win the cup. We'll see. To avoid the treble, right? That's in the at least it's in on United hands to avoid that to happen, right? If they lose it, it's at least it's a good final. They don't depend on anyone else; they just depend on themselves to avoid City to win the treble. So we'll see. It's going to be a good final, and it has that historical aspect of it in there. Yeah, let's see. Man, I mean, anytime there's a United game and there's a van that just parks just next to the building where I live, Jesus, it makes so much noise. I was all the way from almost 8 AM in the morning, man. Serving burgers and hot dogs and whatever. Since 8 AM is parking in there making noise. It's annoying. It's annoying, man. I don't know who's going to eat a burger at 8 AM in the morning, but this guy's unbelievable. Alright, pound. Right, yeah, there you go. Pound. It was, as I mentioned in the beginning of the stream, it was literally the. Well, I actually lost the trade, so that's that. But it was obvious the potential of the move down. It is BT sweep now. I mean, it forces me to close the windows, man. It's starting to be hot in the house, and honestly, it's annoying, the noise. It's annoying. Because they stay there like 3 hours before the match, 3 or 4 hours before the match, and then they're still there more 2 or 3 hours after the match. So it's basically almost 8 hours shift for everyone that is working in that van. But yeah, it's annoying. That's eventually that's what happens when you live that close to the stadium. Yeah, pound taking this high can have been a good trigger. It reacted from a supply level that actually was still in there. Yep, it was still somewhere in there. Actually, it's this one, to be honest. That's basically, there was 2 levels. This is one of them, which where exactly price ended up reacting from in there. Right, with the news, this was with the CPI data news. I actually initially aimed to go short in here and got stopped out, and then I never really managed to get the short again. I was expecting price to go a little bit higher and not to turn at 2 p.m. exactly 2 p.m. I kind of have even a rule to not look for reversals exactly at 2 p.m. UK time, and that's exactly when this turned. That made me a little bit upset. Nevertheless, the move to downside, that's exactly what we have been looking for since the beginning of the week. Even maybe last week when we talked about it, we were literally looking for the potential of the pound making all this move down, even going more than that. This was one of the first targets, because this level in here had already broken this low, and there's maybe a little bit of room to the downside. All of that was compressed before that. In here, and yeah, that was basic. And we already had these lows. Actually, that's one of the triggers that I aim to look for the short. Right, we start breaking even these lows before the news, so that's kind of what I was looking for eventually, for price to do the final turn. And there you go, compressed. We had just taken that high on the left side. We are already taking in here, really confirmed in that level, and with this one being a target for the first target, actually one of the first targets for the sales opportunity. If it even break below this low, which now I'm kind of expecting it, we may have a little bit of a reaction from here, but aside from that, all of this looks compressed as well, and it may go even there, or if not, even go a little bit more than that in there. All right, so that's basically what we can have on the pound. It was the basically move of the week. We have a little bit of a zone support resistance in here, which maybe was already taken by these lows. Yep. Again, you can see our price has been compressing all the way to the upside. Well, actually, one of the levels that I'm looking for, and on this daily time frame, is a little bit more clear. It's exactly this one. This is basically a zone that is still fresh. This low never really reacted from there. Aside from it, every single low basically is already attached. Basically, that means compression. And there you go. That's kind of where we are, and what you are looking for in there. Yep, it will be that level in here, with price going all the way below that level. Yeah, I think we can aim for that. Yep, yes, a nice reaction from there. With the BOE, also kind of reacted a little bit from this level, and price respected it. And there you go. yep, I think we may have a little bit more room to the downside, where can be some levels to look for shorts in here. Just delete all this. That's a little bit of the beginning of this compression to the downside. We kind of have a little bit of a break of this, so there's maybe something a little bit above that. Yeah, maybe this level. A little bit in alignment with this one. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see where. Maybe doesn't look bad. Or going all the way to test literally the extreme in here. That could be a possibility. Actually, maybe going then a little bit higher. Yeah, we'll see what levels maybe pound can use for a continuation to downside. Again, similar to the euro, we may even open straight away with price breaking these lows, kind of reinforcing the idea that it wants to go a little bit down. For example, we could use a little bit of this level, or even in here. To be honest, this level is quite nice as well. Can use maybe a little bit of this level to retrace upwards, and then maybe to look for that continuation to the downside. So let's see what's going to happen. We do have this above bottom in here, so faking out that level can be a good retracement to the upside. So that's maybe something to look for. But yeah, pound in particular, I think it was one of the best moves of the week that we could have tried to catch into short. And that's basically move is on the way. Yep, the best entries, they're gone already. Are we going to have any chance of a deep retracement? Maybe we can. In the bigger picture, and now this is where higher time frame goes into place, right? This actually is an engulf upwards, right? Don't get it twisted. This actually is an engulf upwards. But price now kind of, it makes sense to have a deep retracement all the way until here, and eventually we may resume the move to the upside, wherever maybe the dollar eventually it goes down again. Maybe we have that move. Like pound has been one of the strongest currency pairs against the dollar, and there you go. Maybe we are going to eventually resume the move, because literally we just took. Actually, we may have just retested this level in alignment. I have way too many lines now, but actually, if it is a proper just retest of this level, maybe. But I think this can be an engulf upwards, and price actually eventually can go and feel that somewhere in there. But for now, since it's a monthly high, 3 higher time frame high, we can have a deep retracement from here. Yeah, what else? Yeah, euro pound, for example, it was the opposite, right? Where is it, euro pound? Yeah, euro pound, as we discussed in regards to the euro currency pairs, like the week before, it was one of the euro pairs to short, to completely move to the downside. Yep, all the way since the end of April, then kind of reinforcement with the ECB moved all the way through the downside. We finally kind of completed and broke out this compression here, and we jumped into this level. Now within this level, we actually talked about it during the week, where was a good level to look for a reversal, and we found that level in there as the first level. And then there's even, of course, the potential to go a little bit more further down, which eventually we may go to, but for now maybe a little bit of a move upwards, right? And there you go. Yep, natural move, somewhere from there all the way to test this previous level support resistance, somewhere in there, and we literally had this supply level in here, and now we are a little bit within this range on the euro pound. Bigger picture, I think we may want to go a little bit lower. I think we may even maybe get closer to there, and eventually resume the move down, getting closer to that level. That's maybe something to look for. Now sometimes when I'm looking at this chart, sometimes it's quite weird, right? Literally, In 2 weeks we had all this move down, but last time actually we came all the way here. No, this actually it was December, it was 6 months ago. It was not as much. Yeah, so literally we spent all this time in here for the last 6 months, and in 2 weeks we just completely made the same movement in there. And as you can see, like euro pound sometimes does like to range a lot. So there you go, reversal to the upside when kind of pound dollar was moving down, and after that now it becomes more of a euro thing instead of just dollar. There you go. Reach the target, and from now on let's see what's going to happen. Is this a continuation to the upside of price retesting this level? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Yeah, kind of the best move it was literally to look for that long, the same way that the best move was initially to look for that sell to fill out that space that was created. We already had broken that low, and then to fill out that space in here. Yeah, it's kind of the best opportunities on the euro pound. It happened already 2 weeks ago, and then last week. Yeah, let's see now what's going to happen in here. Pound dollar. Aussie. Open it. Where can you reach you? Yeah, man. I don't have any. I don't have any group like that. Yeah, I don't. That's a good question. Yeah, Jack. Yeah, maybe in the future I may have a Discord. But I don't really have a group to where I share stuff like that. I do work for a prop firm. That's a different story. That's not exactly just me. So yeah, that's kind of one way to do it. Yeah, maybe in the future. We never know. For now, it's just yeah, just join me on YouTube. Depending on as well on the level that you are, you may have different type of interaction, or just send me a DM somewhere, and I'll try to reach out to you to see how can I help you. Just maybe do that, Niva. Maybe there's something that we can do together, or not. Let's do that. Yeah, send me a DM. I don't know, Instagram, Twitter. Maybe it's easier. Yeah, send me an invitation. I'll accept it, and we can talk further. Aussie dollar, right? Aussie dollar, it's another one, just literally within the range. Interesting enough, it managed to go all the way to the extreme in there. On the 4-hour time frame was still fresh. Initially it was in there, now in there. Unbelievable. Our price kind of keeps ranging in between this level. After we managed to break these walls, it was quite obvious that price eventually would just actually we had already broken the wall before the final spike. I haven't been looking at the Aussie dollar for a long time. It has been one of the pairs that I haven't been looking at. I've been actually spend more time looking at the Euro Aussie than the Aussie dollar, to be honest. It's just stuck within this range. Hasn't been my favorite pair at all to look for opportunities during all this period. So until kind of it moves away, or it kind of breaks one of both sides, then I'll try to maybe trade it again. Yeah, either Aussie yen or Euro Aussie has been at least for me offering me better opportunities than the Aussie dollar itself. Now, where are we going next? Again, in my opinion, we have broken this low, so I'm still looking for price to eventually go down. Are we going to go down next week? We do have still a little bit of this demand zone that is still fresh. So that can be something that can hold price one more time. It's even in alignment with this left shoulder. But again, eventually I'm expecting this Aussie dollar to move to the downside in there. So let's see what's going to happen next in here. Yeah, are we going to aim to get closer to this demand zone again? That's kind of something to look for. There. Let's see what may happen in here. Yeah, nothing much literally on the Euro Aussie, on the Aussie dollar. Euro Aussie has been quite different, right? I think as you can see, basically Aussie dollar has been just trading in here. Euro Aussie at least has been kind of trending, then reversal, then kind of retracement again, opens door to go a little bit more further down. There's a little bit more of movement in here comparing with whatever Aussie dollar has been doing. So it has been way more entertaining to look for opportunities in here. Breaking off this one, entering into this space, retracing, kind of looking for that reversal to respect that massive double top in here. On the left side, we kind of just broke this level. I think we even managed to break again into a new zone, because we actually managed to break below this low, if I'm not mistaken, even though we kind of have all these left shoulders in here. This was during the CPI, when Aussie actually did the opposite, right? When Aussie actually did this move upwards in here, Euro Aussie did that move downwards on the opposite side. I think we're going to have unemployment and stuff on the Aussie during this week. There's not exactly a big news for the US this week. I don't think there is. It's mostly maybe for in the UK. I think the unemployment data comes out. Aussie also unemployment, whatever else it's going to happen in there. Looking for price to get a little bit closer to that level again. This reversal in here, it was a little bit in alignment with the reversal, at least that level on the euro index, to start looking for a potential retracement to the upside, right? So you need to kind of go and try to pick your best euro pairs to look for that opportunity. Euro Aussie, it was one of them. Euro CAD was another one, and Euro Pound as well kind of was another one, right? And again, one of the reasons that Euro index is kind of still trading close to the lows is because Euro dollar is which will be moving down, while the other Euro pairs actually have been moving a little bit to the upside after Wednesday, Thursday in there. So this is one of them. Let's see how price behaves a little bit around this level. It had already a good reaction from the previous zone. In here, how this was compressed, we start breaking highs. Final spike, move down, break highs. This is like kind of the last confirmation. Then it's about finding the opportunity, right? You have these left shoulders. I prefer always to look for a little bit more to the extreme, and then when you do break above this level, that's kind of another confirmation, right? So basically, you have the first break of a high. That's still not the right timing to look for it, to look for the reversal. Especially looking left, maybe there's more room to the downside. So you need to wait for the fake out. It could have been in here, but then actually there's another one. Now we finally break a proper high again, retracement, kind of respect. In this case, price could still do this, even though, because this is already the second time that we break highs. And this is almost a tendency already of starting to look upwards, especially if you do have that strong move down, right? You always want to see either a strong move down or a strong move up before a big reversal or before some kind of reversal. Otherwise, if you don't see it, most likely it's still going to happen in the future. And if you're already aiming to look for a long in here, you're going to be stopped out, right? If you don't wait for that big turn in here, and if you start trading somewhere in here, most likely you're going to be stopped out, and you can, you can almost draw a horizontal line and try to look for another entry in alignment with the same space that you entered in the first place. But now after the fake out, it's going to work in your favor. This is basically the same thing in here, right? Let's pretend that you waited for this maybe fake out, and you start trying to look for an entry in here. There you go. After the fake out again, you can kind of almost draw an horizontal line, and you can look for another entry in alignment to that level, and now it would work in your favor. So you have first break to the upside. It's the sign that we are maybe close to reversal. Wait for the fake out. That's a good sign. Break of a high. That's a really good confirmation. You can start looking for that entry. With the second break in here, this is when then the momentum usually starts. So yeah, best entry. This one in here, it's now with the momentum to go higher, especially the day after. Yeah, usually that happens actually the day after. That's something that we're going to talk about next Monday, when now we're going to talk about that level 1, level 2, and level 3, and then level 4 in there, right? So basically this is level 1, This is all this in here is level 2. Now we kind of start moving away, and then we'll see wherever that happens. Right, that's something that we're going to talk about that on Monday. Yeah, so that's basically where we are. Confirmation move upwards, and there you go. This is one of the targets. Now, overall bigger picture, we actually are, yeah, it is a good level. Maybe I would actually prefer to see price going a little bit lower. So this is an interesting level. In here, are you going to find some level of resistance and continue to move to the downside, or even retest a little bit this level and then continue to go higher? Maybe there's something in here that price can still use. We did respect this double low. There's no engulf to the downside in here, so we still don't have that to happen. Let's see how price is going to react somewhere in there. All this was compressed. This is also in alignment with the previous level of zone that was compressed in here. So this can actually be a little bit of a good zone to look for a little bit of a retracement. But we did manage to break this high now, so this actually can be seen as something like that. In alignment also with this wall, right? It's a little bit of a good level of structure. If by any chance we have, or we want to have a little bit of a deep retracement. Now, question mark is this wall. Is this an engulf down and price may wants to go a little bit closer to this level? Kind of what I was looking for a little bit. Or is price okay and just wants to go higher? Yeah, something to keep an eye on in here. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Niva. Yeah, so that's a little bit for the EURUSD. And how to look a little bit for reversals as well, in terms of waiting for that V shape to form and try to look for the opportunities on the right side of the V. Now, something that I'm personally trying to work on, for example, is trying to get into this second zone move. That I struggle a little bit to find the opportunities. Not that I do find the opportunities, but I like to enter at the extremes. Even if I know the extreme is still fresh, I'm always expecting or waiting for price to kind of go there before moving higher. But as I know, many times price doesn't really go there initially. It may just go there in the future, whatever. And you start having these breaks. Maybe the right entry, for example, could have been this demand zone, or even now another break, another demand zone. So we kind of offer you 1, 2, maybe 3 times opportunities to look for long, and you kind of need to take them in there. Yeah, because maybe price doesn't really need to go there, and most likely actually these walls in here, it's already kind of taking liquidity from something in here, right? You're already taking it, breaks the highs. So this could have been the first entry, second entry, third entry, and yeah, you can just keep going, right? Yeah. So there you go for EURUSD. Let's go to the Aussie yen, to the dollar yen, right? So this was the entry that I didn't enter because I was waiting for that yen index to break out the high and after that move down. And yeah, but this, honestly, it's one of the best PAs that you can find ever. So we were aware of this level. Euro yen also kind of reacted from there. Euro yen actually broke below this low, just to see how there was a divergence between the euro yen and dollar yen. We have this demand zone, it's fresh. We managed to break a little bit these highs already, kind of first sign of a break of a structure. We managed to respect a little bit that level, so that level now is weaker. You can see all this compression, price eventually goes down. Okay, everything perfect. And this is the most interesting thing. We actually go down and we respect and create a double bottom, right? Without really going into the demand zone that was still fresh. So we literally leave this price behind. Now, next thing that we do is actually we have this range and then you have that level, right? And you broke into that level. We literally broke into it. Indication we want to go higher. We never got nowhere near close to the next level. And then all of a sudden we drop and we move down. And I think this is maybe CPI or whatever. Oh, this actually was the day after CPI with one unemployment claims, if I'm not mistaken. And there you go, price goes down. Now it touched the finally breakout is double bottom, sorry, into the demand, and then eventually we move higher. A little bit of a range. This was initially maybe more of a move on the yen pairs than the dollar itself, and this is literally now the dollar move from yesterday. gaining momentum, breaking completely all the way through, and we moved higher. Now this was actually a good entry. It was kind of a mistake of mine not to really just pay attention to whatever dollar yen was doing, and still waiting for that yen index to fake out to the double top. And because of that, I kind of literally and then skip this level. But this was a good entry. Break above it, retest it. This could have been a really good entry for this move upwards. And there you go. Momentum to the upside. Again, this is kind of a second leg move in here. Yep, momentum. And now I think we can go higher from here, at least towards that level, getting a little bit closer to that level in here. I think eventually this dollar yen can go a bit more. We do have this double top. Since we never broke this demand zone, yep, if this is actually wants to hold, I think it can. And if you start approaching these highs, going all the way through, I think eventually going to create and fake out these highs and go higher than that, right? Because this level, in order for me to actually look for a proper short in here, I would prefer to see these lows actually being taken and price going to entering into this level. And at this point, we don't really have that. Unless by any chance price kind of pauses in here and breaks down, that's a different story. But if price just continues to go higher now, yep, I think eventually we are going to have new highs being created on dollar yen, and price can go, and that will take dollar index, yen index to move down and go below those zones that we also mentioned. This was again one of the best entries to look for. Now it's just a trend continuation. If by any chance price wants to do that, we do have this pre-level support resistance, this supply level that should have respected price, or price should have paused in here somehow, and it was completely ignored. We may have a zone in alignment with that. I can actually just delete this one. We may have a zone in alignment with that maybe can be used. There, even though it's not exactly there, because actually this thing, the separation is in here, at least on this time frame. So maybe this is the demand that maybe price wants to go to. Initially, I would like to see, there you go. Something that could happen is price to go a little bit down, pause in there, maybe a little bit in alignment with this one first. So pause in there, go higher, break again, maybe above this level, whatever it may be, and then eventually goes down again. And now attract people to sell it, to buy it in here, and now goes down into that level that is in alignment with this one. And now you could go and continue to go higher, right? So create first of this level, go higher, create fake structure in here, and eventually for the final proper move to the upside to eventually even go here. Nevertheless, maybe you can even look for longs initially in here, and if you start creating this good level of structure, then maybe you can look for the continuation in there as well. And that's kind of what could be interesting to happen on this dollar yen, until we finally take this out of this compression and we aim towards to the next level. So something to look for, or you can even kind of respect that level first, go higher, which will even take the highs, goes down a little bit, respect it, and then finally do that into there. Yeah, something that could happen in here. Yeah, let's see. I think we may go a little bit higher with the zone to look for in there. Pedro, what are you looking for on dollar yen? Yep, euro yen, as you can see, we actually managed to break below this low, right? To respect a little bit that level, but we managed to break below this low. This shows a little bit more, again, the weakness on the euro index comparing with the dollar. And now maybe you are close to a potential reversal in here. This was a nice level in here. I missed it on Friday. We broke the lows. I was looking for price to go a little bit in here and not just to pause in there. Nevertheless, this can be seen as maybe as an engulf down, and we may actually open the door to go way farther down. Now I still like this level, for example. In here, I think this high has never really reacted from there, and I think this can be still an interesting zone to look for. Maybe a continuation for price to go at least a little bit lower. I think there's more room to the downside on this euro yen, but price could literally maybe go higher first pretend that this level is being respected, and then kind of go there and move down somewhere in there. If you do by any chance break again above these highs, then maybe you can fill out this and get a little bit closer to those highs. But yeah, that could be a good level maybe to look for a continuation. Nevertheless, maybe you have first a move upwards in here, something in there as well could be. Yeah, Euro Yen, something to keep an eye on. Like if the yen index by any chance starts to move down, most likely this one's going to go higher. Then you need to look at yen in dollar yen, which level? Highs in March. This is May. What March? Okay, yeah, to these highs. Then 139. $39.30, right? Somewhere in there for sure. Yeah, so we have already one high, two highs, three highs. Yeah, eventually that could happen. Is it going to be in there? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I would like to see. I need to investigate whatever is above this high in here, close by. Yeah, that could happen. This was a nice reversal, so price never managed to break this level. Price actually respected it, so we never managed to break this low. Jeez, I have way too many lines in here. Need to do it a lot of stuff. Yeah. Now, this is just one of the spaces in here that we actually managed to break below this level, and I would actually have loved to see this level being kind of filled before maybe that move upwards. Yeah, is this a nightmare? Is this a possibility? Not a nightmare. Is this kind of a potential scenario? That will be, maybe that will be too much. Yeah, if by any chance, if we do break below this level, I think target is going to be here. But this level needed to be broken, and we haven't done that. So that will be definitely one of my targets. If you do break below that level, I would aim to go towards below this level all the way through here. But that hasn't happened just yet. So, yep, since that's respected, maybe we can start aiming a little bit to go higher. Euro Yen already talked about. Aussie Yen, that was a great aim, a great short opportunity. Martin, beautiful trade that you have taken. Price compressed as well, kind of start moving to the downside. Price reacted nicely from a little bit of this level. That actually was a lazy moment from me, because on the lower time frame, price actually looks like it wanted to go a little bit higher, but if you actually check on 1 minute, you can see where actually the supply is in here, and it is in this level. And then we checked it on 1 minute, and if I had done it, I would be ready to look for the sell opportunity, because I was still looking for price to go a little bit higher, and since that never happened, then I kind of missed it. But if I had noticed that, yes, I would definitely try to aim for a sell opportunity all the way until here, especially after the break of this trend line, break of lows. Somewhere in here could have been a good aim to look for a sell, even then on retest as well, in there. Yeah, so what's next in here? This was a really good level. That's done. Yeah, we may continue to move down. Now, is there anything even above the size that price can eventually go to? Maybe. We are reacting a little bit from this level, a little bit of a range. I wouldn't mind to see maybe another leg down being created after price kind of finally moves away from here, right? So something to keep an eye on. And this is where, again, selection of the asset that you want to trade in individually, it matters, right? If by any chance, if this is the Aussie pair or yen pair that you want to trade for these last 2 days, you have been just stuck in the range. And while Aussie dollar actually moved down, or any other yen pair, for example, we have the yen dollar moving in a really good way to to the upside, right? And there you go, it gets stuck in here in this range, the Aussie, right? So that it matters to select or kind of to pick correctly the asset that you want to trade. Yeah, that's kind of where we are now there. And the pound yen, again, expecting that move to the downside with in correlation with the pound, right? The pound yen has been moving really nice to the downside. It retested this level, move all the way to the downside. We actually managed to break slightly this low. I wouldn't mind to see another maybe leg down on the in here, maybe somewhere a little bit higher or not, right? If you continue to have that weakness on the pound, maybe can help this pound yen to continue to move down in there. So let's see if that's going to happen or not, even though this kind of a little bit of a retest support resistance. But he actually managed to take this this low in here, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, it's a really nice level, to be honest. And not exactly on 1 minute, but in here we literally took this level, but reacted from this one. But actually a kind of a good level in there. Eventually, I would like to see price going a little bit lower, but for now, for a retracement, it's quite good. It's quite good. Now we have a little bit of these spikes in here created with the BOE. Yeah, do you want to go a little bit higher? Maybe there's something a little bit higher than this spike that price eventually could go to before maybe moving down. We managed to already break a little bit of this low. If by any chance price wants to go, actually, let's pretend that price wants to go above this high, somewhere in there. This level in here can actually still be quite interesting for a continuation, because this level of demand now is still fresh, and if price wants to go higher, price could go first take this demand zone, go higher, and then eventually turn down or move to the downside. So something in here can still be interesting, even though again this is just a little bit of a more complex, because we do actually have this engulf down. But if the target of this move to the upside is still kind of a little bit higher, and actually this zone in here can actually work quite nicely as a long. Go below these lows, can work quite nicely to go higher first and then eventually to go down. All right, yeah, there you go. Not every engulf down that we have or up is going to be respected immediately. Maybe that's just start opening doors for the future. Let's kind of pound the end in there. Our card, another one. Yes, yeah, dollar yen. Yeah, dollar card. Jesus Christ, this is another one that stupidity enough, another one that I kind of missed all the move. I had a loss in here and missed then the entry on the second one. As you can see, we have, and this is the low that I was looking for. I knew there was two lows. There is this low, and then there is another one on the lower time frame, kind of 15 minutes or whatever, actually, where I have this line. That price could go and fake out. Yep, even a little bit in alignment with these lows. So we are retesting again this level. There's a really nice opportunity to go look for a long, and there you go, like the other lows that we have. So this is one of them, and then we have this one, right? Just visible on the 5 minutes or then 1 minute. And this is eventually actually where price reacted or kind of fake out in there. Actually kind of try to sell it or to buy it still below this level, but within this level in there. Nice zone, price reacted eventually from there, and there you go. Yeah, actually we had the loss somewhere, I don't even know where, somewhere in there. Yeah, nice reaction. This could have been the entry. I didn't took it. I wanted to see a little bit more. Then actually this low, actually I just missed it. Literally, this low then never really got there, and I just missed the move. There you go. It's another one. Pound dollar and the dollar CAD. Yeah, good analysis, right direction. Just missed the entries. To look for the big reversals. Yep, nice move. This was with the CPI, if not mistaken. Spike all the way down in here. Then price started to move upwards. We had broken these highs already, so that was nice. It's interesting until finally price gains momentum, and we are here again, right? So we are approaching. This was quite easy to see. After you do break that level, it's just as a continuation. Nothing in here to stop price. Price never even breaks below this level, so there's no need to even look for a short in there. And then eventually we kind of gain momentum. Let's see how price is going to react around this zone of structure. Again, CAD has been such in a range market for the last months. It's unbelievable. There you go, another move up. Somewhere in here for sure we may have a little bit of a retracement. Somewhere in there it's a little bit where I'm looking for, so that would take a little bit, kind of a few pips higher in there, and that's maybe where we can look for. And then let's see. Now this doesn't mean that price will just do this. This may mean that price can maybe feel a little bit of this range in here. Again, something interesting could be create some fake structure in here until kind of have that spike and maybe continuation to the upside, somewhere in there or in here, right? So pretend that price kind of is pausing in here, and then you have that spike move down and then continuation to the upside until eventually we can go a little bit higher. For example, these highs, they just reacted a little bit from the base of this. They never really went to the extreme. It was something actually I was looking for price to get a little bit higher in there. And this is maybe the final destination of this move upwards. It's actually maybe to go close to that level. So yeah, maybe now this week, again, there's not going to be any big news events in the US. And sometimes when you have that, that's when you start having a little bit of compressions in the market without really proper momentum. So you may have a little bit of a compression, especially after already had two really strong moves. You may have a little bit of a compression in here until eventually have this one, not just on dollar CAD, but maybe even on euro dollar, as well as prices moving down, maybe start compressing a little bit. Pound dollar as well, dollar yen as well, maybe starts to slow down a little bit. Yeah, let's see. But yeah, going above this size could be interesting in there. On the dollar CAD, yep, something in there could be interesting. So let's see what's going to happen on UC, and in particular this level. If you want to actually see the level, it's actually this one in here, 1.35743, somewhere in there. Price never touched this zone. We have this high, we have this high, and we have that space. That's literally where I'm looking for eventually. Maybe for a little bit of a retracement, nothing extraordinary. Yeah, a little bit in line to that level. We do have a little bit of that zone in there as well. Compression that's taken, and then eventually can go a little bit higher. So yeah, let's see what's going to happen on dollar CAD. Yeah, then you have dollar franc Swiss, which unfortunately for me, these guys managed to hold price. There's never that deeper retracement to get a little bit closer. That's where I was looking for my long opportunity. Again, I've been quite very bullish in here. And again, a lot of range. I think maybe dollar franc Swiss has been waiting as well. It's another one that has been waiting for the momentum on the dollar to finally kind of break through and go to the upside. We are retesting these highs once again. I think there's literally still space towards there. Like I was already looking for price to even go there when price was still in here. Try to make that less extra leg down, and I think there's literally space to go there. So that's something to look for. And at this point, we already have 1, 2. Now I'm actually going to look for potential shorts in there to look for a little bit of a retracement, even if it is just from this line all the way to retest maybe this highs in here. There's maybe some opportunity in there to look for. And of course, depends on how price is going to approach that level. Yeah, maybe starts to compress a little bit and towards there. Yeah, yeah, do definitely have this double top, a double bottom in there. Yeah, let's see what's going to happen. Yeah, but I'm looking for price eventually to get there on our franc Swiss. Yeah, let's see. Gold is the next one, right? So gold, really strong move down. Again, last week I mentioned that this one for me it would be as a engulf down in here, so looking for price to go a little bit lower. Price respected quite nice for that level. Meanwhile, again, I think it broke again kind of these lows, so kind of another indication it went a little bit further down, reacted from there, and it starts to move down. Now it created a double bottom, and now with respect to this demand, I'm still looking for price to go a little bit lower towards this level, so that hasn't changed yet. Of course, maybe the move to the downside in here or to look for sales, that has happened until kind of here. That's always one of the targets, like, even though this one may have open space towards to go further down, we still need to be concerned about price even respecting that level or not, because price can always respect a low and retrace, like that double lows, triple lows, they happen. So, and for us to force always for price to immediately break below that level, it's not the right approach. Went all the way up, we actually fake out this high, we actually fake out that high, and I was actually looking for price to go a little bit higher before trying to join the sale on the tick chart. There was a really nice move zone in there. Price decided not to do that, and yesterday with the news, I think the consumer sentiment or something like that, price just continued to move down. So yeah, kind of if we took that high a little bit, yeah, so maybe within this range now we may aim to go there. This is the demand zone as well, to look to see how price is going to react somewhere in there. Now on one hand, we actually may have this engulf upwards, so if by any chance, if this low actually wants to hold price, maybe price actually can go all the way here and do this, since this one actually already broke that. But I'm still cautious because actually there's a little bit of space in here to fill. So maybe actually have maybe first that move down before maybe a move upwards. Again, this one is the question mark, like, did it actually broke the highs or not? It depends on the server that you're looking for. Yeah, but for now, I think I like to see gold filling this range initially. If you do break below that level, then eventually to go there, and then let's see zone by zone on gold if you manage to break the level, or by any chance we are going to be ranging in between this level for a while. It's kind of another possibility in here. This level in here, that's been already taken quite nicely, right? I even start looking at silver. Martin, that's because of you. What a move on you dropped all your gold shorts for now. Yeah, it's good, like it retested that low, so kind of wait and see. Silver, what a beautiful move after the fake out of this high, that KM, and we start breaking these levels. It retested that. This was already an engulf down that I think we covered this one 1 month ago or so. Meanwhile, price went higher, whatever, and now finally it filled this range. It's reacting a little bit from there. I'm actually even looking for silver to go maybe a little bit lower, maybe to 23.37, 34, whatever, somewhere in there. Yeah, this level in here, below this level was a little bit fresh. Where can you look for? Maybe even the retest somewhere in there to look for another continuation. Maybe. We do have this previous level support resistance. So this level in here, as you can see, it was quite important in the past. It was quite important also in here. So you may even have another one, another zone being created in there. Even here, it was holding price in there. So there's been a lot of balance on kind of respect in between this 24.6, 24, yeah, 24.4, 24.6. Yeah, so let's see if that's by any chance happens again. Eventually continue to move down. Oil is another one. So where are we? How do I respect that previous level support resistance? In here, we had a really strong move to the downside, even managed to break slightly this low, at least on the server, but we are still trading within this level in here, so that's something to keep an eye on. So that level has been taken. That was actually a good entry in there. Now the supply level is still a little bit fresh, so if by any chance price wants to go and fake out eventually these levels into there, that can happen. We do have this demand zone is basically where price is approaching in here, so below this low, so that has been taken. We already actually have an attempt to go higher first, so actually below in here could be interesting if you do have that continuation to the upside in there, or if by any chance if you start breaking into this level, eventually can go all the way towards here, and somewhere in there could be maybe a good zone to look for another long. This level has been quite important in there. It has been important here. This is where basically we had this strong move down and up. Yeah, so this line in here around 68, right? Around 68 can be quite interesting, but maybe there's a little bit of a move first from somewhere in here with this level to look for. Maybe that can be already a good potential trade on Monday, and then if price wants to continue to move down, it can do that somewhere towards that level. And then finally, it's been a long stream, guys. Bitcoin. Jack, where are you? Where is Bitcoin in here? I'm tired, can't even see Bitcoin. It's in here. Is 25 the target now? We finally managed to break these lows. We broke them on the 11th, so last Thursday. Again, bigger picture, we actually had already seen that this low, and this matters, right? When you have breaks of the lows on the way up, those eventually become a target. So initially we kind of respected that level. Nice, but we just went all the way to respect the supply. Now, I was even open to the possibility of price going a little bit higher when it did created all this one here, but this again created a nice Quasimodo in there. Nice fake out, strong compression, supply, move down. Now, to be honest, I was not really the biggest fan of this level when you had that big drop, but on the daily time frame or even 4-hour time frame, it's actually a retest of this previous level of support resistance. So in that sense, it can be a good level. On the lower time frame, I was not really the biggest fan of it. Retesting that level, kind of in here. Yeah, I was not really the biggest fan in there. Then again, a lot of structure. This happens quite often, as I mentioned, in terms of continuation. Then price kind of retest that level. Something in here can still be even interesting to look for. Now, where is actually price reacting from? This was another typical Friday night move that spiked down, and yes, it just went all the way to test this demand zone, right? This is basically the last zone created within this compression. So basically this is the beginning of the compression, and in there kind of move up, starts compression, last demand zone that still is still fresh. This sub 5 level should have actually respected price down. It didn't, and now it's working on the other way around, and somewhere in here can still be interesting, right? This is kind of where I'm looking for those 25k mark. Yeah, nice little zone in there. And to be honest, this week already kind of reacted from this level. So actually maybe the zone is a little bit underneath that. Yeah, this level in here was still fresh. So nice little zone, the reaction, and let's see what's next. Are we going to kind of find a little bit, go down, and let's see how price is going to react from around these left shoulders in here, and react a little bit from this level, eventually go a little bit down, and maybe we're going to have that typical pattern to look for some kind of reversal, maybe aiming for price to go again. All these big spikes, they usually tend to track price or to have some kind of reaction. Then on the left, something in there as well. Yep, maybe something in there to look for. 1, 2, 3, and took it. Maybe very what above that. Yeah, let's see if this weekend this is the pattern that we're going to have. It is a good level. Okay, I'm okay with actually where this will reacted from. Now we may go a little bit lower, but this level is actually quite good. So if you do create something like this in here on the left side, I wouldn't be that surprised, and actually maybe that's a good level to look for. We may have a little bit of this demand in here. We can fake out this level. Into here. Yeah, that pattern could happen somewhere in here. Yeah, it could happen somewhere in here, and now I'm to that level. Yeah, and eventually maybe fill out this. Now we still have this supply. This one never really caught there. Yeah, let's see. Maybe something like that could be. They have the supply. Yeah, let's going to actually set up an alert in here. Yeah. Ethereum. What do we have? Now that I moved to the rectangle, right? The rectangle is actually initially in here. If you remember last week I mentioned, yes, this demand zone was still fresh, but then the next one was actually, especially in the higher time frame, actually the demand zone was somewhere in there, daily time frame as well. So that's a little bit of where eventually I would like to see price going to, a little bit towards that level. Actually, I think yesterday actually moved the rectangle a little bit further down, which can still be the case. Price can actually still go a little bit further down. But to be honest, I think this would be the beginning of this move upwards. None of this was actually reacted from there. So eventually I think that we could go and react from this level, which was also previous level support resistance in here. So that's kind of what we have. Strong compression in here, that's basically taken, and we may actually go higher from here a little bit, with special attention maybe to test this level in here, filling out this compression. Now paying attention that we actually start having a break of a high on the way down, so that's interesting to look for. Now there's a little bit of space in here, price can go there, but we start having that break of a high on the way down. So again, this is literally the beginning of the move. We can see that this is, for example, on the weekly time frame, we have 1, 2, 3, and that's basically where we kind of created this top, and now we are reacting from the low that created that move upwards. If by any chance if price wants to go from high from here, it could. We may have that level as well in there. Yeah, let's see now if there's any change of momentum in here or not. Strong move down. Yeah, curious to see if price is going to feel out that level or not. So paying attention to how price is going to react from here. Again, make this structure, make this level in here in particular work. It would be nice to see even breaking a new high from here, so then you can actually go down, maybe retest this level and kind of move upwards from there again, and kind of now trade this range once again. I can kind of do something like this. Could be a possibility towards there or something in here. All right, so yep, over the weekend let it work out a little bit, this level of range. Hopefully still create a new high in here before maybe create that fake out in here, and then we'll see what may happen in there. All right, so this is the demand basically where price is reacting from. This may be another one a little bit underneath there. Right, this is literally the demand zone in there. Yeah, that's basically it for Ethereum. You're looking forward to see what Bitcoin also is going to do somewhere in alignment with these levels. Yeah, right, now that maybe most people are starting to be super bearish, it's finally maybe broke below this level. I've been bearish for quite a while. Actually, it seems price reacted from that high. That was one of the last zones within this 30k mark in here. These levels back in May, June, that price was still fresh. Literally this supply in here was one of the last ones, maybe just above that. This one was already taken. This one was taken. This one was literally one of the last ones. Literally really nice reaction from there. And after that, we start breaking. We had already actually, again, broke a low even before we did that move. So that's already a little bit of a sign of bearish. Opening space that price could go at least to retest this level. We start having the turn. Again, kind of, there you go. We retested from there. Managed to respect these highs. And then literally we broke all this. Right, and after we break out this, kind of start opening doors to go further down, and there you go. Right, so since here that kind of I was looking for price to literally aim towards to eventually get to that level, and now there was still that demand zone in there that I also mentioned about it 2 weeks ago or so. Yeah, 2-3 weeks ago. Yep, within the range, and finally price kind of going there. Good reaction from there, but there's maybe again a little bit more of a move to downside. Maybe can fake out this one more time. But for now, maybe there's something in here that price could use before maybe going there and then continue to move down. Right. Basically, what I want to say is yes. I want to be bearish. It was a lot around these highs. Now that everyone may be starting to be bearish because we broke these lows, it's actually maybe the time to maybe look for some kind of correction. Now, yes, we may go all the way until here. Maybe go back to 20, guys. We'll see. There's literally this level in here. It's quite important, and let's see how price is going to react from there. Yeah. That's it, guys. Thank you very much for everyone that took the time to spend these last 2 hours and more than 2 hours. It's been 2 hours and 10 minutes, basically. Long stream. It was a good one. Yeah, dollar momentum for next week. Maybe euro, pound to see some weakness. Again, the yen pairs are also interesting to see if the dollar yen is going to manage to continue to go higher and move high and move a little bit closer to the highs. Being aware that there's not exactly any big catalyst for next week, if I'm not mistaken. So when you don't have those big weeks, basically this is the calendar for next week. CPI in Canada, yeah, nothing much. Something that also starts to move or kind of to show to be in the direction that what the Fed wants is these unemployment claims. Like, it has been growing and growing. This is kind of what the Fed is expecting, to see the unemployment increase. Even though these unemployment claims are starting to grow, NFP is still kind of surprising everyone. Yeah, but that may have finished in the near future. Yeah, this was the range below 200k. Now it has been in between kind of 220, 240. We just had another spike last week to 264. Let's see if that number is going to continue to increase, and eventually that's going to be reflected in the NFP. Maybe next time now in June. So that's something to pay attention to. And yeah, so there's no big news, and when you don't really have those big news, oh, these guys are going to speak next Friday. All right, maybe have a little bit of a range instead. Even this one, it's expectation now for the next one. 15%. Yeah, basically everyone is pressing in as the peak is on in there. Thank you guys again. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. I appreciate it. Try to grow the channel. If you got value, fantastic. Leave a comment as well if you liked it. If you want me to look at any other asset, I already looked at quite a few, but if you want me to look at something else, feel free to leave a comment, and enjoy your weekend, guys. Hope you guys have a good one, and I'll see you next Saturday. Thank you. Bye bye.